Hello and welcome to the Watson Weekend. We are your hosts. I am Rick Watson.
It's Jessica Laseski. Welcome back.
We are excited. This is your weekly dose of e-commerce entertainment. It's like medicine with just enough sugar to make it go down a little better. So we're your place to go for news in the world of retail, tech, and e-commerce, and perhaps some things that are not news too.
That's right. We have never claimed to be journalists, but we're getting there slowly but surely. What do you think, Rick?
Yeah, I'm maybe going in the opposite direction of journalism. So that's really my goal.
Is your New Year's resolution just percolating a little bit to a little bit more inches of journalism?
Yeah, a few more inch steps of journalism.
All right.
Yes.
Baby steps. I'm going to get a Journalist for Dummies book.
That's great. Yeah, my idol is Bill Murray in What About Bob?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one. My idol's Will Ferrell, Anchorman. So
nice.
Here we go. All right. Well, we want to thank the Maze Group for bringing the show to us today. Super excited to have them as sponsors and making sure that we can bring all this goodness your way. And we've got a pretty packed show, right, Wick? And an amazing guest. I cannot wait to introduce Dina to our viewers.
Yeah, we're excited. And before we get started, I wanted to let you know where you can find our shows. Watson Weekend is a YouTube channel, so you can find us on YouTube at RMW Commerce. You can find us on any place you can find podcasts, Google, Apple, Spotify, all the good podcast outlets, and even some of the crappy ones.
Yeah, we don't discriminate.
No, we're equal opportunity.
Yes, we are.
So on the show today, we have our headline hangover, which is a staple here. We are going to go through the Gartner Quadrant, which is less magical than it used to be. Let's be clear. And then we have the CEO of Hairstory, Dina Rosenbloom, on the podcast, which we are super excited. Great Omni unified. I don't know which buzzword to use anymore. They're not just a D2C brand. That's what I'm trying to get to.
That's
right. And they're super exciting. And then we have our holiday videos. We have Kaplan's Corner. So
it's packed. So we probably just got to dive in, right? So you're going to kick us off with our first headline. And I'm pretty excited about this one.
Yes, Shein has filed for an IPO in London in 2025. Obviously, they have been disrupting the fast fashion category for the past several years. They are an investor in Authentic Brands Group, Spark online division, to legitimize themselves in America. This is expected to potentially legitimize them in the world, perhaps in the UK. The question is, what happens? Is there an IPO window here? And if they're successful, what changes for Shein?
Yeah, well, look, we've had this debate a lot. And I think one thing is very clear. There will be scorpions for everyone. If there is an IPO, a little throwback to a show 2 weeks ago. I do believe the show that you, Hendrik, and I were on, we talked about when were they going. And I was like, it's not happening in 2024. And I stand by it. And I just want to say I am now regurgitating, like vomiting, for lack of a better word.
Jess was right.
The crow that I ate because I'm right. That's all I gotta say.
Right.
But yeah, to your point, what really changes? Does it legitimize them a little bit further? I don't think it changes the scrutiny that they have on the business. I don't think it changes their business practices at all. I still think their chief communications office is the same place as their compliance office. Throw back to a Nick Kaplan comment. They're going to still have a lot of the same scrutiny. It just lets them put more cash and probably have a little bit more in their pocket to fight all the lawsuits that'll be headed their way.
Yeah, I think they also need a little bit more cash to fight Temu, who is spending a lot of money and has quite a large cash balance. So
that's right.
I think that's interesting. So that's Shein. We'll see if they make it out. IPOs are notoriously getting canceled right now, and so we'll see what's going on. Next up, we talk about venture capitalists.
Yeah, we do talk about venture capitalists, and Rick, they're sad and they're tired because there is not a lot of activity, as you know. So you talked about the IPO market being really small, not a lot of activity. Same thing in VC world. And And someone made a comment, Edith Young, the general partner of Race Capital, said at the CNBC moderated panel, in the VC world, it's really all about liquidity, stupid, which is not really a shock. For a while now, VCs, private equity, they've all been very focused on how to make companies more profitable versus just keep funding for growth, right? It is about the bottom line. And we are trading now in the world of margin, EBITDA. And if you don't have a plan, you really don't have a business. So there's nothing really shocking in this story outside of, Rick, the question I have is, do you think then with the latest election, the new administration coming in, does anything change in this VC world?
Yeah, look, I think incrementally this could be positive for the VC world. I mean, after all, there seems to be a lot of connections between the administration, family members of the administration, and the VC industry. Trump appeared on the All In podcast, which has a lot of VCs on it. Donald Trump Jr. just joined a venture capital fund, so it's hard to believe the Trump administration will do something against the VC industry, if not for their own self-interest. So I would say incrementally positive for this community.
Right.
And then we'll see what shakes out on the after effects of everything else.
Yeah, that's a good call out. I think the other question I have for you is there really any activity outside of OpenAI? I mean, it's like, it's so hot right now,
Yeah.
like my Zoolander throwback. But yeah, is there anything happening in the world outside of AI?
AI is the AI of AI. So VC is going to change its acronym to AI. So that there's not much else going on.
Okay. So word to the wise, if you want to get funding or make anything happen in your company, keep your AI drops to at least one of every other sentence, right?
Yeah. Change your domain name to .com. So 25 years ago, .ai, new hotness.
Next gen. All right. Bring us to the next situation we have going on here.
Wow. You can't say Lina Khan doesn't keep trying. The little engine that could. Tapestry and Capri have been trying to merge for the past few months, and it is officially blocked. My first thought is like, Lina Khan seems to hate retail. Why would you want to block these companies from merging? A lot of these companies are like not doing
well.
fantastic. And so combining these companies, it's really about the synergies and helping serve the consumer better. So it's not like, I don't know, maybe they should look at companies that control 96% of the search market in the world or something. Just a thought.
Well, maybe a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it's like you talked about, Tapestry, you have Coach, you have Kate Spade, you have Stuart Weitzman. On the Capri side, you have Jimmy Choo, Versace, Michael Kors. It's not like these brands are gangbusters right now, printing money, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Lina Khan, we have a little homage to her that Vinny, our producer, is going to end up put up. We just saw this on LinkedIn pop up. I think it was a scheduled post that it got out. Oh no, Lina Khan, open to work. January 7th. I think this is going to be scheduled on LinkedIn. And the bullets that came up, wrote a white paper about Amazon in grad school, which, by the way, was only a few years ago. Hired by Biden to throw a lot of spaghetti against the wall. Most didn't stick. F you, Tapestry. I did something. And now looking for the next role, preferably not one tied to any actual results.
She's like, if you're looking for a deal killer, that's me.
That's your girl.
I'm your girl. Tapping in.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you talk about hating retail. There are some good news, bad news stories in the latest retail earnings. And you wrote a lot about this related to Walmart and Target. Can you break down these two different worlds? And I did love your Allen Iverson. We're talking about traffic.
Yeah. How can we be talking about traffic? It's crazy because Walmart, look, their mantra for the past 3 years has really been grow profit margin faster than revenue. And they've been growing both. Their revenue or their sales on their marketplace and the e-commerce side is like in the 20s. And so they're growing very fast. Their ad business is growing 20+%. Their all their stores business is growing 6%. Their profit margin is growing 10%. And so they are making a ton of progress. They're getting more efficient. They've reduced their cost to ship an order through their store network by about 40%. So they're firing on a lot of cylinders right now. Meanwhile, Target is like getting hit by supply chain
Yes.
bottlenecks that very few other retailers are talking about at all. They're saying the consumer has moved from resilient, FU NRF, consumer is no longer resilient. Target's consumer is resourceful. And so
right.
they're talking about traffic. Like within 5 minutes of the earnings call, Target CEO is like, we have a lot of traffic. Let's talk about traffic for a while with the 6 other C-level execs on the call. I'm like,
Yeah. It was a
we have
stacked call, right? And you talk about what is the resourceful target consumer. They're resourceful at finding the closest Walmart to go to.
exactly. So Target is a little bit on the struggle bus. I think they probably need a new management team. So we're going to move on to our next player here, which is Amazon. They're trying to haul us into a new dimension here. Can you talk about that a little bit, Jess?
I
Seems like
can.
you're got it in
It
your
really isn't
tagline today.
it is in my tagline because it's a real question, to haul or not to haul. And you often don't find Amazon copycatting a lot of things, or do you? Because the word on the street is Prime actually was inspired by the Costco membership model. Who's to say? But Temu and has been eating Amazon's lunch to a certain extent, especially
Mhm,
chipping away at those lower priced items that
mm,
people don't really care if they get in a day or two.
mhm.
They're willing to wait for them. Maybe it's a cable, maybe in your case, it's a lederhosen suit that you
Love
need
it.
at a conference to celebrate Oktoberfest. But what we do know is they have not hit the gamification play as much as we've seen, Temu do, but they have certainly littered this Amazon haul site with a lot of things that are $20 or less that aren't very inspiring, right, Rick?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it looked like Amazon took a filter of their site, they added some emojis, a few buy more, get more, promos, a new cart, and then we're like, all right, we done, ship this.
Hauled. It's hauled, baby.
It's
Bada
haul it
bing,
out.
bada boom. So yeah, I it's interesting too. It's mobile only, right? So you
Mm,
can't access it if you're
yeah.
shopping desktop. Trying to get those like really quick hits. The question I have is between Black Friday deals, Amazon haul, the kind of core marketplace experience. Is this a distraction for them, or do you think this actually helps them win some share?
I don't know if it's a distraction. It's almost like a hedge I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of go back to like crazy times when like Google looked at Facebook and were like, "Oh, there's a social media thing. We need to figure it out. Let's spin up Google Plus." Wah, wah. That didn't do too well. Now Amazon is trying to haul out a new discount experience. Similar to Amazon has tried social too. So Amazon has a lot of Me Too experience that
Yeah.
is kind of like not so great.
No.
We don't like to
You
talk
know,
about the failures.
No, they don't. But they'll shut some stores down. So
Yeah,
5-star grocery.
exactly.
Here we
Bye-bye.
go. So I think that's going to close us out for the headline hangover. Let us know, you guys, if you've got your haul and what little gems you found. But speaking of gems, Rick, there's been a lot of activity going on around this gem of a magic quadrant, if we would call it that.
Yeah, the Gartner Quadrant is, I would say, the most impressive and predictable bitch fest from vendors every year on LinkedIn and other social media when your little small bubble does not move in the right
Mhm.
direction or is not as large as you would like it to be in the right part of a two-dimensional quadrant. So the short answer is we can pull up the quadrant itself, and a post I made about it. There are kind of two axes on the Magic Quadrant. What's called the Magic Quadrant. One, the sort of vertical axis
Mhm.
is ability to execute. So ones at the top can execute great, ones at the bottom not so much. And then from a left-right point of view, the vendors on the left um, have a incomplete vision is kind of
Mm.
how Gartner terms it. And on the right side, these vendors have a very complete vision, very expansive vision, but it is unrelated to how they're able to deliver it. And so if you like read this, ultimately kind of what I think is e-commerce platforms, it's not like we just created our first e-commerce platform yesterday. Like
Right.
e-commerce platforms have been around for many, many, many years. And so there've been so many of them, particularly in the last 15 years. How many e-commerce platforms? Like you can just count all the ones on this screen, which is like half of the e-commerce platforms that exist, or like 50 e-commerce platforms per se. What the hell are they all going to do? Why do you need a complete vision? You just need one that works. So who cares if your vision is complete? You just want something at the top. Shopify, Salesforce, Commerce Tools, that kind of feels like the top vendors out there right
Yeah.
now. They each have a little bit different strengths and focus. Shopify is obviously kind of the darling. Kind of the next tier is sort of VTEX and BigCommerce, who have potential but don't have the same ability to execute and don't have quite as many features as some of the other players. And then you have a big mass of vendors that work for different experiences. Some of them are friends of the program. Shopware, VTech, Shopware, Oro is in the
Yep.
mix. There are a number of other vendors out there, and there are a lot of B2B use cases. Some are country specific, some are category specific. So all those things are in here, but it kind of makes me wonder, how do you think they put this quadrant together?
I would think there's some kind of cash involved. Like these things don't just pop out of nowhere, right? You need money to make the world go round. And I think we actually have a video that talks about the way that this magic becomes magical.
Yeah, on the pro for you. So let's
A town with money's a little like the mule with a spinning wheel. No one knows how he got it, and danged if he knows how to use it. What's it called? Monterey. Once again. Monterey.
It's exactly how it happened.
Yeah, I think that's how the sausage is made. That is seldom revealed information here that we're breaking here on our podcast.
You know how we got it? AI. So
AI can do anything. Can we get some
Really
VC investment? Seriously,
yeah.
please.
Invest in us. We're just breaking news and
Yeah.
cracking stories.
Join us at watsonweekend.ai.
Exactly. So just to wrap this up, Rick, from a perspective of being on the brand and the retail side, I have to say the only time the Gartner quadrant ever really comes up in meetings is when someone is flashing it to validate their choice of a vendor that may have gone sideways. It's like, hey, no, but they were good, right? Because they're on
you
this
worked at
quadrant.
brands before. You're not really
Yeah.
using it.
Yeah, we're not
as your
really using
primary.
it. Hey, let's say you have a platform decision, or let's say they also evaluate CMS or different types of tools, right? Like there's different variations of this. No one's kind of going, oh, let me check the quadrant first before I'm going to go make my decision. So I'm curious, outside of, let's say, the use case of, does this help brands make decisions? What else do you think what's the purpose that this serves?
Yeah, I mean, I think the purpose is generally the inexperienced buyer who's having to make a decision they don't always make and wants to take advantage of research. That's kind of the theory behind it. And I think for that purpose, it does pretty well, because otherwise, what are you doing? You're doing a Google search. You're asking a few friends. And so I think if you can afford the Gartner subscription, which is another question, again, back to the get back to that topic, that's kind of where you hit it. So we're going to be doing actually a very special podcast just about this topic that we're going to break out and release it independently. So you'll have more to look forward to on this topic.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Great. Well, I think we want to get to our guest and bring her on. Rick, do you want to do the intro?
Yeah, we're excited to welcome a friend of the program. Dina and I, before we were saying we met several years ago, introduced by a great friend of the show, Jackie Loffer. And Dina Rosenbloom is the CEO of Hairstory, which is creating a new category of hair care. They're an omni brand, so D2C, B2B, retail. Dina has a fascinating story. Ex-Macy's, Estee Lauder, Creed Beauty, and she was CMO of Hairstory, and now she's CEO. And so I think that gives us a lot of topics we can talk about for her path, the path of her brand. How do you think about customers as a brand owner? How do you make big decisions and big bets? So we are both excited to bring on Dina Rosenbloom.
Yes, welcome, Dina. And while Dina's coming on, if you guys have questions for her, please drop them in the comments. Dina, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have you.
I am very excited to be here. Thank you, Rick and Jess.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So I think we'd love to just get started with a little bit about your career journey. You've worked at so many different impressive companies, and kind of what was your career arc and kind of brought you into Hairstory? If you could give us an overview, we'd love that.
So I started my career in hair. One of my first jobs was at Bumble and Bumble, when it was a kind of owner-led business, owner-founder-led business. I worked on the second floor of the salon before Bumble expanded, and really grew my career there through marketing. Thereafter, I actually continued in the beauty industry. At Bumble, we were a little bit disruptive at the time in terms of how we were running the business and the pro side. And we actually didn't even consider ourselves a beauty brand. So I then went on to work with several other beauty companies, as Rick had mentioned, and spent the last decade plus actually in luxury fragrance with the House of Creed, running the marketing globally. And as you probably know, Creed sold to BlackRock and then sold to Kering. So there was a lot of change that happened. And through that change, I decided I really wanted to go back to an entrepreneurial environment. And so as I was looking for a role, I had kept in contact with Eli Hallowell, who's the co-founder of Hairstory. And we were, talking about different opportunities. And he, toward the latter part of my search, I actually had some other opportunities brewing. He was like, Dina, you should come join Hairstory. We really need you. They didn't have a CMO position, but he opened up the CMO position. And I was so glad to come back to hair. And, my first day at Hairstory, I felt like I had come home.
Oh,
which was really exciting. And many of you may or may not know that Hairstory was also founded by Michael Gordon, the founder of Bumble and Bumble. So it really did feel like
a full circle moment.
Yeah, full circle moment. And shortly after my initial, I would say, quarter as CMO, things just shifted within the organization, and Eli asked me to step up to CEO, and I gladly took the challenge.
Yeah, well, Hairstory is such an exciting brand. There's this origin story that you guys really pioneered a brand new category. Can you talk about that? Because in this space, opening up new categories and chartering entirely new paths is not very common.
No, definitely not in the hair care space, and particularly in cleansing and conditioning.
Yeah.
I think the founders of this brand, super innovative, really wanted to disrupt the industry. So I would say we kind of pioneered in a couple of different ways. First, in that the format of the product came out of a need to really focus on scalp and scalp health, and knowing that traditional shampoos have harsh detergents that allow the product to foam, but also actually destroy your microbiome and cause your scalp to have to regenerate quickly and overproduce oil. So Hairstory's hero product is called New Wash, and it's a cleansing cream which functions like a shampoo and conditioner, and I suppose mask all in one. So in that sense, we're really disrupting what would be almost like a commodity category. And the other aspect of doing something different was how we entered the market in terms of our sales channel and sales proposition. We decided to really build the business through the independent hairdresser channel. And that was really something that was starting to become more and more common amongst hairdressers, to leave their commission salons and go out on their own. And the hairdresser model is an affiliate model well before there were many commercial affiliate models or influencer marketing. And so it was really innovative for the time, and it really supports the independent hairdresser in a supplemental income that they can make through their business without having to carry the actual stock in their booths or in their spaces, which can also be very burdensome to many small businesses.
Right. No, I think that it's so innovative. And actually, I'm really good friends with my hairdresser. She talks a lot about all the disruptions happening in the industry. And so many hairdressers during COVID did go out on their own, to your point, and they set up their own booths, and not carrying product where they have to have and manage the overhead is pretty amazing that you guys are willing to do that. So talk about like the logistics though of like drop ship and how you manage that. I'm curious, as you're trying to like funnel the orders, track the sales, there's a lot that's involved there. Did you have to kind of come up with some paving new ways of managing that whole like supply chain back end experience?
I think we have a very interesting proprietary kind of back end system for hairdressers, but it's really not that complicated. It's not I wouldn't call it even a drop ship scenario. We sell on our website to hairdresser customers and, regular commercial D2C customers alike. And the hairdresser uses an affiliate link, much like any other affiliate program. But again, this was, a little bit ahead of its time. So our affiliate structure was custom built. And with that link, they share it with their clients. The clients go shop on our website and they purchase as if they're a regular customer. And then the hairdresser gets a commission, and we pay the hairdresser monthly. And the interesting thing about our affiliate model is that we actually pay in perpetuity.
Oh, that's amazing.
So once that link is connected to the hairdresser for that client, every time that client shops on our website, the hairdresser gets commission.
Wow. Which incentivizes them also to kind of keep the product top of mind with their customers, right? It's really brilliant. And not many brands would be willing to give up the margin.
That much revenue,
that much revenue on an ongoing basis.
Yeah. It's really in support of, the professional. And what's interesting is it's also fed into what we would consider our major influencer channel, which is the hairdresser channel.
Right.
Because really the way we say you acquire the customer and we will help retain them through all of our online marketing efforts. And so a lot of hairdressers have really expanded their reach to get new customers, because once they have that customer purchasing New Wash and purchasing other Hairstory products, they will forever receive commission. So it really behooves them to continue to get more new customers.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things to unpack here. I mean, I think the fact that there wasn't just an innovative product and then you set up a website and started selling it. You really thought through that go-to-market strategy. Like, hair care products are very hard to differentiate from a blind search, right?
Yeah.
And like, how do you introduce yourself if you don't have a hairdresser talking about it with their clients? in context of what's happening to their hair. You can't experience any of that digitally.
No.
And so can you talk through that?
Absolutely. So you really hit on it, Rick, because there is a differentiation between our normal D2C clients and the hairdresser clients. I mean, all of the metrics kind of point back to the hairdresser client being a more valuable client in that they have a higher AOV, they have a 2.5 times long, greater lifetime value. There's because we're creating a category, there's a lot of education that goes into using the product and the benefits of the product. And you have, when you have a hairdresser explaining it to a client, it's obviously a very different initial experience than when someone buys it online, and you hope that they watch a video or read the instructions.
Well, and there's so much trust there, right? I mean, people, they are trusting their hairdresser with a lot, because it's not just hair. There's people say they're having a bad hair day for a reason, right? It can change your whole mood. It can change how you feel about yourself. It can change your confidence level. And so there's so much trust that goes into that relationship with the hairdresser. I think it's so smart that you're continuing to leverage them as your ongoing advocate, and continue to stay wedged in as like a top of mind story, right? Like something that they continuously talk about. Are there other product lines that clearly you have more product lines than the new wash, but as you think about like the next category you might want to disrupt, okay, if you can't give anything away, and we don't have to do any trade secrets, although Rick, pulls them out through his AI engine anyways. But yeah, just curious, like, what's like your next charter of something you want to disrupt?
I love that question, Jess. So we started as a scalp care product, and again, scalp care is definitely trending. I would say that we're the first conscious scalp care sustainable, organization or brand. We've recently launched a treatment product, actually 2 treatment products. One that is a pre-wash, it's a prebiotic micellar pre-rinse. And that is meant to actually kind of get the product build up and the oil already, clean. It's the pre-cleaning before the new wash experience, and actually allows for new wash to do the job more easily. And then we have another treatment product, which is a primer, which is a protection mist up to 450-degree heat and UV rays, other pollutants. And so we're really, I wouldn't say we're disrupting, but we're really playing in the treatment category, which is where we've lived since Hairstory was born. And we're just going to put our stake in the sand even more aggressively there.
Well, I already know the things I'm buying, basically, because I need all of it. And I think we had a question that popped up. Dina, I don't know if you saw it. Is there an affiliate program in place? Would it make sense to expand this to influencers on Instagram and TikTok so they get a lifetime deal too? Could be massive. Are you guys thinking about that also?
We have that. I spent a lot of time talking about the pro. I could talk, Hairstory is a very unique, complex business, but we have an affiliate program with, regular influencers and affiliates. We have begun to invest pretty heavily in influencer marketing, which is big hairdresser influencers and other commercial influencers. So we are, we're playing in the social media game.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's amazing. Look, you've spent your career in marketing, in beauty, in hair. As a marketer, there are a lot of brands in the audience that are trying to do everything through data, right? They're trying to personalize their website and know the customer. But when you're introducing a new category and you're breaking into something that it's also like your relationship with your hairdresser is an emotional relationship too. And you're trying to introduce this new category, which takes word of mouth. It takes time. Talk to me about the relationship between the qualitative gut feel stuff that comes from your customer relationships versus your more quantitative, numbers-based, data-driven marketing mind.
Yeah. Well, obviously we are very data-driven in that we're a D2C company. I think there is a qualitative gut aspect to the branding. We've recently actually rebranded our site as well as our brand, and we're in the process of relaunching our packaging. And
Awesome.
you know, that I don't think that you can creatively relaunch a brand through data. I think there obviously are surveys and you know, consolidated consumer feedback and consumer patterns that we can look at, especially when it comes to demographics. But ultimately, I think to bring a brand forward, and that's kind of been what I've been challenged with as a marketer coming in as a CEO to Hairstory, is really to bring Hairstory into the next level, into the next phase of its future.
Right.
And a lot of that is data driven, but a lot of that is just, you know, gut and understanding of the industry, understanding of what beauty consumers are looking for, looking to, you know, people I know and myself, and what, you know, is attractive to me. And so it's actually a very difficult balance, I think, because you can put creative forward and then you still have to test it with metrics to see if your creative is working. But I think it also requires a very fast pace.
Yeah. You have to be willing to listen to that gut and intuition. And clearly you've built that over your career, and it served you so well. So I love that, because sometimes people will get so overwhelmed in like the data and they don't make the decision. And then you find, oh, I've been trying to launch this rebrand for a year. Right.
Yeah. Your quote that I don't think you can creatively relaunch a brand and use data is, to me, that's gold, because I think that people are looking for permission to trust their gut in certain areas. So like, how do I ignore the data? It's the data. But the reality is the data is often a lagging indicator of something that is just a truth in society for some reason or another that you've identified and uncovered through your own intuition or something else. So I love that goal. There was a question from Katrina Seitz. I wanted to put up on the screen here, which is, how does Hairstory, like, obviously, look, you launch anything new, it's copied in nanoseconds. It just feels like these days. And like, oh, this ad is working. Everyone can see, every brand can see every other brand's Facebook ads, how well they're doing, email template libraries. It's crazy how much information you can get out there as a marketer about other brands. What do you do to remain differentiated?
Well, I think from a product development standpoint, we have to be on the trends, but ahead of them. And thankfully, we have some amazing third-party labs and partners that we work with that also bring us an innovation, and we challenge them to bring us innovation. So, you know, I think that is part of it. Another piece of it is we really look to our hairdressers. We are talking to them constantly. And so we're looking at what are their needs, what are their customers asking for, what are the biggest problems that they're seeing, what's the white space. And then, you know, we're developing products against it and testing them with the hairdressers. And we have not historically put a lot of products out at a fast pace. So, and we will continue to not launch at a fast pace, because we have to make sure that all of the new products that we're launching are really performative. Our customers expect it, our hairdressers expect it. And when it comes to clean ingredients, we're actually updating all of our formulas currently, just to make sure that they're vegan. So we've turned almost every single one of our products that can be, we've reformulated to be vegan. We are creating some fragrance-free products. And we are definitely a sustainable brand. I mean, I don't know if you all know that we sell New Wash in a pouch, which is a proprietary pouch, whereby it is actually the only fully recyclable pouch on the market. A lot of pouches claim they're recyclable, but there are pieces and parts that are not. So we're really proud to say that. And that also is because we have a great partner.
That's
so
amazing.
I think having great partners is super important.
Yeah. Well, clearly you guys are continuing to chart new paths. I'd love to dive into leadership a little bit because you have built up such an amazing career. We hear, and sometimes that being a CEO though can be lonely. You're surrounding yourself with great team, but at the end of the day, you do have to call the shots, make sometimes the hard decisions, the unpopular decisions. Do you have people that you lean on, or how do you kind of get through some of those tougher moments?
Honestly, I really lean on our co-founder, Eli Hallowell,
Mm,
who's also the chairman of our board. This is his baby.
Yeah.
So, and it really helps that we have a long-standing relationship because I think we trust each other.
yeah.
And he has certain skills that maybe aren't as strong for me, and vice versa. So he really is incredibly helpful. We also have a very strong board who have various perspectives. Obviously, I have to kind of take them all in and then make the
Yeah.
judgment calls. And I'm part of I'm part of a women's professional network called the We Suite, which is really a
Yeah.
great community of women, where, I can probably pretty much find any resource I need there. And I have a professional coach. So, I find I definitely am not, I'm humble enough to ask for help when I need it.
Well, I think
That's
that
great.
it's very clear it's led to your success, and yeah, I mean it's so impressive. I feel like we could talk to you forever. Is there anything we haven't asked you that you wish we would have, or you want to talk to our viewers about?
I think, I think the one thing maybe we haven't talked about is culture within the
Mm,
company, and
Yeah,
how important that is to the growth of an organization and the success of an organization. I think that to have, some significant growth, you have to
mm,
build culture within. And Rick, I love that you said the data is kind of the trailing indicator, because I really believe that it is.
hmm,
And we're still catching up, right? There's a lot of hard work that we have to
yeah.
do. A lot of people don't know Hairstory. But I made it a point to really build an incredibly strong team, and, a team of individuals who have very unique skills. And sometimes it's about finding personality and not even completely about, exact experience.
Mm,
Because if you have a hunger to win, then, I think you can succeed in a business like ours.
yeah,
And for me, it's really important that everybody on the team have that, so that, not one person is kind of holding anyone back. Um, yeah, we have a hybrid culture. Never had one complaint about that,
mm,
which is very unique.
that's pretty
When
amazing.
everybody's
Yeah,
going back to the office,
yeah.
we have some people who live out of New York. We have people who live in New York. We have people who come in a couple days a week. And we really have found a way through, virtually through all of the tools, to be able to stay connected,
Right.
to
yeah,
build culture.
Yeah, I think culture is so underrated at a company, and I think it's fascinating to hear you saying you're hiring for attitude over skill. Skill is something you can teach. Attitude is something, you know, that's who that person is, and you're not going to change that over time. If someone
Yeah.
is great at listening to customers and responding quickly and being on their P's and Q's, they can learn hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
right.
can learn hair. I mean, in some cases, obviously, the industry experience,
Yes.
is
Help.
important.
Yeah,
But
Maybe the
I
innovation
agree.
side of it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Probably learning hair is, in most of our roles, is one of the easiest things to do.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think it
Yeah,
goes back, a lot of corporations could learn from this, because you put out a job description and you're focused on the skills. You're not focused on like, what are the core values of our company, and what do we want to see in our colleagues when we show up? That's first of all. They don't even have a list of those things. And second of all, they don't
hmm,
even know how to interview for them. Like, how would
Mm-hmm.
I even understand? So how do you interview for these softer skills?
Well, I don't ask skill-based questions. I ask
Yeah.
life-based questions.
Hmm.
I mean, I ask people about their upbringing, how do their friends describe them? Trying to think of some other questions. Are they more or less creative than the average person? Why? How organized is their kitchen? I've actually literally asked someone in an interview, like, what does your kitchen look like? because it was a job that required a lot of organization.
Yeah.
So I just
That's a
wanted to
smart question.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they're like, my counter's messy right now, you're like, you're out of here. Well, Dina, I'm so sorry because we really could talk to you forever. We probably need to do a part 2 of this, maybe after you guys do an upcoming launch, or you roll out your new packaging and the rebrand, and we can follow up on how that went. There's just so much richness in your storytelling and the knowledge that you bring. So thank you so much for spending time with us today. I know people have found it super valuable. I have.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you so much. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you being
And
here.
you're welcome to come back and dance with us if you want at the
I
end.
would love to. I would love
All right.
Awesome. We're
Okay,
excited.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Well, I think we're moving on to our good friend, Nick Kaplan. He has got Kaplan's Corner coming up, and he's going to dive into nature versus nurture. I'm really eager to see what goes down here.
Yeah, and I think before that, we're gonna warm him up a little bit. We're gonna watch a little holiday video together, and because look, the master needs preparation, and so
He's got to get in the zone.
Yeah, he's got to get into his zone. He has a process, and we must respect it. Welcome, Nick.
Welcome, Nick.
I'm so happy to be in this seat and not Jess's seat this week. It was like so tough, but yeah, I'm in pregame, so let's roll.
Yeah.
All
How did
right.
you like the conversation with Dina?
I mean, it made me think about all my special relationships over the life of my hair that I've had with my stylists. I think it's such a critical category. I love what she said about culture building, about her processes, and I really, really appreciated the whole surround yourself with people who get it, and it sort of like takes a village. So yeah, it was awesome, terrific, and I'm excited for part 2. I want there to be a part 2.
There
will be a part 2. I have 10 more questions I wanted to ask her. So
right.
part 2 is definitely happening. Well, I guess we're going to warm you up first, right? We're going to do our holiday segment and watch the latest ad together. This was Rick's pick. Say that 4 times fast. And this is, is this a best or a worst ad of the week?
It's an ad. And look, it combines a few things that I like. Number one is celebrities reading reviews of something. It's also Adam Driver, who is like emo to the max awesome. Here. And so all those things together in a holiday ad, I think it's a good formula. So we're going to see it here.
Let's let her rip.
Real Amazon customer reviews, performed by a real serious actor. What can I say about the banana slicer that hasn't already been said about the wheel, penicillin? This is one of the greatest inventions of all time. My husband and I would argue constantly over who had to cut the day's banana slices. It's one of those chores no one wants to do. You know the old, I spent the entire day rearing our children. Maybe you can pitch in a little and cut these bananas. And of course, you think I have the energy to slave over your damn bananas? I worked a 12-hour shift just to come home to this? These are the things that can destroy an entire relationship. It got to the point where our children could sense the tension. The minute I heard our 6-year-old girl in her bedroom reenacting our daily banana fight with her dolls, I knew we had to make a change. That's when I found the banana slicer. Our marriage has never been healthier. And we've incorporated it into our lovemaking. 5 stars.
Whoa.
Mrs.
T. I didn't see that coming.
That was a twist.
Yeah, that took a hard right turn.
Yikes.
Well, here we go. Nick, I feel like you got something to say about that one.
I mean, I'm like I'm off my game now.
Right.
Listen, I love Adam Driver. He's so great. And I think Amazon, it's really hard to do these ads differently. And I really appreciate what they did and the valuable customer review, an amazing celebrity and a great script. So thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. I love the
Two-
interplay between Adam Driver and the piano player who's shocked by the review almost as he's playing the piano. It's
Yeah, I liked Adam having the different personas as well. So I'm gonna say this is a 2 thumbs up for me. Also, go Adam Driver.
I know.
All right,
Go
Nick,
Adam Driver. Okay.
you're up.
Am I being cued?
You're cued.
All right. All right. So here we are for Kaplan's Corner. As we all hopefully know, you watching, we love you. We love our audience. We also love our producer. And so this week, I was asked the question, how to grow in this climate? Can we do it with internal talent, or do we need talent to get us through and break on to the other side? So nature versus nurture in these very Darwinian retail times. Customers are demanding and fickle, and competitors and competition relentless. So as we head into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where we will have quite a bit to talk about, Darwin would be proud of the moment that we're in. So I asked the question of myself to tell you, can companies dig their way out by evolving internally or by injecting external change? And it is a tough question. So let's look at it from all sides. And I do mean all sides. So nature first, leveraging internal pros, cons. Knowledge equals frequency over time. Institutional knowledge counts for something, right? That is a pro. Cultural familiarity, lowering disruption costs, and cohesion amongst your team. These are all good things when you think about nature. What are the downsides? Resistance to change. Human beings hate change. Inertia is real. Osmosis is not. Stuck in legacy thinking, we like to say inside the walls of Watson, TTWWADI. That's the way we've always done it. And that is ultimately the definition of madness. An example of a company, though, that has done it well with nature, Zara. They've stayed true to fast fashion, but constantly evolved inside the four walls of their hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of buildings around the world. Nature, transforming from the outside, bringing in new leadership tools, or just driving change. The pros, fresh ideas and a new perspective can actually bring change. Crazy, right? The way is the best way until there's a new way. Faster change management with faster and less emotional connection to the past happens much more quickly. And someone has to push the company and the team to get out of its comfort zone. The cons. Cultural disruption can have a serious impact on morale. Human beings, as I said before, they do not like change. High cost of external people coming in. It is not free to make these changes, both in time and money, very valuable commodities. The new way may be too much of a shock to the system, and it may not actually work out. Hello, Nike and JD. Yikes. So an example of this, though, would be Walmart. I think Walmart showed that they could buy jet.com to transform with outside coming in to really, if you looked at their earnings this week, which I think we mentioned earlier, sometimes an outside mechanism is the best way for change. And then both, right? The best of both worlds. The most successful companies actually can ultimately, and I believe do blend nature and nurture. And like you have internal sort of culture and external change management. You can take in third-party tools or technologies that work within the confines of the existing foundation of your business. And I think like an example of this would be Starbucks. I know today a little bit tougher, but if you think about Starbucks, the journey of mobile app, which in my opinion transformed their business, was built inside Starbucks. But they bought a company called Brightloom, which was a tech player that gave them the technology. It was an ordering technology that bolstered loyalty. And the two put together gave Starbucks a really incredible competitive advantage that really kept them relevant for a long time. And we'll find out if their current change management is going to work for them or not. So what I'd say is the path of survival is like assess your business, because it is not a one size fits all. It is not a binary nature, nurture. It is what strengths can you leverage internally? what external solutions are needed, whether it's a person, a technology, or a process change. Key frameworks, right? Incremental improvement versus radical disruption, balance that. Life in this environment, this Darwinian moment, is about environment efficiency. And then think about sort of your solution. So what I'd say is that today, to answer the question, Mr. O'Brien, nature or nurture, there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, but make quick decisions, commit to change management, and be efficient. And that, my friends, today is Kaplan's Corner. And if you ever have a question you want answered, lob it in. We're here to help.
Nicely done.
Amazing. We're here for you.
I feel like Adam Driver in that banana.
You really were. And next time I'm going to start doing interpretive dance behind you.
That'd be crazy.
So great.
Well,
Remember, there is no show next week. We will see you back here on December 6th. Time to dance.
Give us your ads, guys.